Sir.
Get it on the counter. We'll go from there.
Five, four, three, two, one. What's the deal, man? It's your man King Eric, the Media Assassin. We are now tuned at episode 659 of Off the Cuff Radio, man. I got my host T Max with the facts on the line. What's happening with you out there, my brother?
Man, what it do, man? We are live and direct on a tremendous Thursday of that number one Thunder off the cuff radio. Shout out to our co-host, still honest man, Sandman, Lady Chinchilla. We are ready to get it rocking. And tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we have two of the most elite in the history of hip hop in terms of the hip-hop. One of them is a disciple of the incredible wordsmith collective, the Wu Tang Clan. He has definitely made his mark as an artist. And the other, words cannot appropriately express some of the dopest soundtracks that he has laid down in hip hop history. Working with artists like Razzcast, Skyzoo, and so many others. And actually, coincidentally, these two actually have an album that they just put together. This for tonight on Thursday night of Off the Cuff Radio, we have two tremendous tie-ins that have come together for a tag team of terrific to bust that boom bap all over the place. And we can't wait to hear their stories collectively and individually. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, the living legends of hip-hop, Bronze Nazareth and Apollo Brown. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Yo, yes sir. Thank you, man.
Number 659 is wild, bro.
And we put in that work, boy.
that's definitely putting in that work.
And listen, one thing about doing this show and being able to reach, 659, obviously, we're 41 off of 700 shows. And you two to come on our show, we're humbled and we're honored. We're just two children of the generation of hip-hop, of the culture of the golden era, who have grown, who still enjoy this to this day, listening, and to see individuals like yourself who still carry the flag for all things that is real, relevant, authentic, and amazing. Not in that order. You both have a decorated, distinguished, and incredible history. We have to get to it, especially how you all came together to form this coalescence of an instant classic album. Individual.
Classic, man. That's beautiful words, man. We appreciate that. Appreciate you having us.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I guess we get right to it.
For sure.
Tell us about how you both came together to do this.
We probably should have came together to do this about 30 years ago, but
Facts.
it's just one of those things, man. Bronze is a busy guy. I'm a busy guy. We both have our own respective projects, our own respective careers, man, and it's something that we put off for a long time, man, being that we started this together. So, if anything, it was inevitable. Before we both died, man, it was inevitable that we would put together and craft a project. But like I said, it should have happened a long time ago. But that's why the title is the title, man. Funeral for a Dream. This is probably one of the most important albums in my career. Not only just for the people, but for myself personally. So it's something that I've always wanted to do, and it's just one of those. I don't know if you call it bucket list or whatever you want to call it, but it's one of those things that I felt that needed to be done, and we came together and made some beautiful music. So.
Absolutely. And I mean, we've been, we've been banging out doing hip hop, bro, since the high school lunch tables, man. So like, we really forged our steel together. And then we kind of just went our own ways. I got signed by Wu. He did the Red Bull thing, started rising from there, and it's like coming around back full circle. You know what I mean?
Now, one thing about it is you both represent that, Detroit, Michigan, and you both come from an incredible history and legacy. I mean, from the new generation like I Swear Bezo and Payroll Giovanni, shout out to them, you know, to, of course, Eminem, of course, the state at large, MC Breed representing Flint. Um, I mean, and of course, we can't forget Grand Rapids' very own, the best ever, Floyd Money Mayweather. I mean, you all in Michigan, Detroit specifically, you know, we can't mention hip hop without you all for the contributions that you have given.
Absolutely.
How important was this for y'all coming together to really put on for the state and to really cement your city's already incredible and impeccable legacy? What was the vision when y'all both went into the studio with this project?
Well, obviously we both represent Detroit, but we're both from Grand Rapids.
Okay, Grand Rapids. Okay.
And I tell people that, I'm from Grand Rapids, but I cut my teeth in Detroit. Okay. My career started in Detroit.
Got
where Apollo Brown came to be. So I cut my teeth on Detroit scene. So that's why I represent Detroit so hard. But we're both definitely from Grand Rapids, and there's a lot of talent that comes out of Grand Rapids.
I mean, like I said, Mayweather, the champ.
You mentioned Floyd Mayweather.
We got Barge. We got the Barge family. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We got Willie the Kid. We got a lot of Dark Man. We got a lot of talent that comes out of Grand Rapids, man, and it's just that's kind of how we came up, and we came up, listening to we came up a real East Coast sound. It was one of those things. A lot of the hip hop in Grand Rapids was based out of an East Coast sound, and we really didn't. We definitely didn't have a Detroit sound growing up. That wasn't, and I still don't think I have a Detroit sound now. But I don't think either one of them have a Detroit sound. We kind of cut our teeth in Detroit, man. But we grew up on East Coast hip hop.
Yeah.
I love Detroit to the fullest, and Detroit is definitely home, and it's definitely what I represent, man, and it's one of my favorite places in the world. So when we got in the studio, it was one of those things that we had to represent. We had to represent hard, and we had to, put on for Detroit, So and no other way to do it but crafting classics, man.
Facts, man. And just being from Grand Rapids and then skating over to Detroit for a bigger hip hop market. Like you said, Grand Rapids was more East Coast based. We had the camouflage, we had the, we had the East Coast slang, and that's kind of where our music gravitated towards. And when I got signed with Wu, that was, that's what I'm on. I'm gonna make, East Coast type stuff. And so when we translated to Detroit, we brought the sound with us. And so we were some of the only cats really doing the hard East Coast sound from Motown. And so I think we definitely stuck out with that Grand Rapids Detroit mix there,
Absolutely. When you look at both of your individual journeys, what was the watershed moment for both of you when you knew this is what you wanted to do? Bronze, please tell us your story from your first introduction of how you wanted to, how you found your way to doing this.
Oh man, I think when I was in high school and I was trying to figure out how to make beats without the right equipment, I really think my passion started right there because I don't know, it was always something that was fueling me a drive to figure out how to get my sound and make my beats. I started on some old computer equipment called Boy Extra and just copy and pasting sounds and stuff like that until my boy D the Rebel introduced me to the ASR 10. So my passion for making beats spawned out of me rhyming. I was rhyming over other people's instrumentals. And then, got to the point where I was like, yo, I want to rhyme over my own shit. How do I get my own shit? So that was kind of the evolution of me starting exploring how to figure out how to make beats. And yeah, man, that was way back in high school when it sparked for me. And I had that drive ever since, you know.
Yeah. Apollo, you're one of the most. Your work is absolutely extensive. I mean, the credits read like a who's who of all-time greatness. Where'd you find your start at? And being a proud Spartan as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Both of us are. Absolutely.
Okay, so both of y'all went to Michigan State. All right.
Yeah, we went to Michigan. See, y'all don't. A lot of people don't realize our history, man. Our history mirrors each other. So when Bronze is talking about, you know, making beats on Voyager, I was right next to him. Okay, making beats on Voyager. When we started making beats on Cool Edit, I was in the same room on the same computer.
Wow.
You know, at the same time. You know, like when you talk about Michigan State, we were roommates.
Yeah.
Wow.
When you talk about high school, we were every day together. This is, you know what I'm saying? This is, a lot of people don't know that Bronze is my best friend from childhood. Wow. So we were together for a long time, and we moved to Detroit together. You know what I'm saying? Everything in our life, not even just our career, but our life mirrors each other. And so it's, you know, our family knew each other. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just one of those things. We grew up in the same neighborhood, and you know, that we started this together. So when I say we started this together, that's a fact. That's not some bullshit. You know, when people say, "Oh man, we literally started together." And but you know what really, I never really wanted to be an MC. I dabbled a little bit. And I've always wanted.
I got some Apollo verses, boy.
I dabbled a little bit, man, but I've always wanted to make beats, man. And you know, when I see what really got me interested into it is literally watching Bronze. You know, in his drive to want to be a producer, not even a producer at the time, just want to be a beat maker, just want to make beats. You know, and I wasn't really super into it at first. And then I was like, yo, this shit's dope, man. I'm like, yo, I want to get into this. This is really dope, man. And so, yeah, I started using Voyager as well, right alongside him, man. And it was one of those things where, you know, I didn't know, I no longer wanted to just listen to hip-hop, listen to music. I wanted to be a participant. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would see everybody and hear everybody else doing it. You know, you got P Rock, you got DJ Premier, you know, you got Large Professor, you got all these, you know, DJ Muggs, everybody that I'm listening to at the time, and I'm just wondering how they're doing this and making this sound, making this backdrop for these MCs to rap over. And I just thought it was the best thing in the world, man. And so mine didn't really come from, you know, being an MC and wanting to, you know, to produce my own music. I just wanted to produce, man. I just wanted to make beats. And like I said, at that time, it wasn't even producing. It was just making beats. Bedroom beat maker. You know, I was a bedroom beat maker for a long time. I was a bedroom beat maker for probably 10 years before I even showed people what I was doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't really come on the scene until about 2007. You know, and then that's kind of when I kind of, you know, broke through. But, you know, we started doing this in, what, 96?
94, I remember.
Something. I don't know. It was a long time, man. And it was, you know, it was just something that, you know, in over 10 years, man, just imagine how many beats you stockpile. Right. You know, when you're doing this after work or after class. You know, we used to come back to the dorm room, you know, back in college, man, you know, and he's in his room making beats. All you hear is making beats. I'm in my room making beats. And all you hear is just beats through the walls. Beats. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And that's just really all we did, man. And we played PlayStation and made beats. We didn't even go to class. We didn't even go to class, man. We played PlayStation, played Madden. and make beats, man.
So you guys coming in, you're getting your beats out there, and usually in this business, it's always about not only networking, but getting that one guy that's established to recognize your sound and put you on. Like, who was the real major artist, the first major artist that you sold a beat to?
Oh man, go ahead, bro.
Shit, first major artist I sold a beat to would be the RZA. Actually, I did the birth and I did a day to God is a thousand years on RZA's album The Birth. So that was shortly after I had signed with RZA as a producer, and I stayed in New York for like a whole summer. This was this is 2002. So I stayed in New York that summer, working at 36 Chambers every day from about 3 p.m. to about 4 a.m. So we did that whole summer of '02, and I ended up with those two joints on RZA's album. That was my debut.
Man.
And it came out in 2003. Yeah.
When we think about that time, of course, you said RZA was your first beat sale. This is, like you said, around in the early 2000s. So obviously, the Wu Tang Clan is a certain worldwide dominance. The 36 Chambers, released in 1993, was a watershed movement. I think even as hip hop, connoisseurs, we did not know, truly, at least for the next 5 years, how impactful that album was. What was it like? Cause I'll tell anybody, this is like Madden shit. RZA from 1993 to 97 was on a whole fucking other level. And we still think about the beats he lost in the flood, and we're like, shit, what were we at with that?
Absolutely.
I mean, the Spectres album, R.I.P. to that first album, because that was the one that was lost in the flood. I mean, it was just, oh God. I mean, what was that like in terms of actually learning RZA's craft, in terms of how he would and how he, with his method?
I mean, it was dope, man. I got to sit back and see how, like, for instance, I saw all the pieces to Triumph, how that was cut up and created. So, really, there's not a lot of difference when you're a beat maker and you're really into it. You pretty much, everybody uses the same little chops and techniques and different machines and all that. But really, what I learned from RZA and being in 36 Chambers was like the business flow.
Right.
Like, you get in there and you realize that this shit is not music all day, every day, having fun. No, it's all these different meetings and ways you're gonna set up your schedule. And I got to watch how they put albums together and brainstorm on different things. Mostly I got to watch the engineer work, which is what I kind of picked up mixing and mastering on my own. So, it was dope, man. It was a live experience. It was fun. A lot of crazy shit happened. But I mostly kind of picked up on, the business hustle. Like, you can't just sit around and wait for things to happen. You gotta go get it. So, that was probably the most eye-opening thing working in 36 Chambers.
Got you. Apollo, your star. What was it like for you in terms of once you really found your way in the industry?
Oh man, I think my first one was, I think it was first major one was D12. I think a joint called Cushion Green. But when I came in, my start was a little bit different. When I came in, I immediately went to work on my own projects. I wasn't, and still to this day, I'm not much of a placement producer. I don't, I've never been one to really like send beats out. I don't send out beat tapes and stuff like that. I never really have. If you hear me on other people's albums, it's just because there's somebody I fuck with, and we're cool, and they wanted a beat from me, and we made the business happen. But just like right from the beginning, man, I just wanted to make my own albums. I was super all about one producer, one MC albums, or at least, that was one of those things that really attracted me, man. I didn't want to put a bunch of beats all over, different albums. I wanted to make full albums, man. That was those are the albums I was always attracted to, and those were the albums that always had, consistency, and they just sounded good, man. And I loved that, man. So I always wanted to do that. So that's what right off the bat, man. That's what I started doing. Was just making my own albums, and like I said, selling beats here and there, putting beats on projects here and there. Obviously here and there adds up over the years, man. To be, there's I don't know how many beats is out there, but I wasn't really concentrating on selling beats, man. I was always concentrated on making my own albums, and creating a body of work on one album that's consistent and just went together like a story, like a puzzle, and just when you listen to that album, it was Apollo Brown who produced it, and each track just kind of roller coasted into the next, man, and that's what I wanted to do.
Now, was there any challenges in working with guys like Ghostface and Razzcast? Because those guys' styles are very complex.
No, man. Not for me, man. I mean, I don't think, I doubt there was a challenge for Bronze, but I'll let him speak on that. But it's, if anything, man, it was, we laid the bed, so they had to. It was their job or their responsibility to match us. You know what I'm saying? We laid the foundation. It was our backdrop. They had to match. So, and they did an amazing job. You know what I'm saying? So, no, I didn't have many challenges out there, man. Especially, being an assertive producer, man, and I know what I like. I know the sound I'm going for. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't really. I'm pretty assertive when it comes to being in the studio and when it comes to being a producer, man. And especially when it comes to the beats that I want on the album. I know what the sound is that I'm going for. So it's kind of up to the MC to match it.
Two things, because we got y'all on, and we cannot go through this show without bringing this up. Do you realize how much that Razzcast and the album that y'all do you realize how much that's going for on eBay right now? Do you realize how much that's going for right now?
Nah, man, you tell me, bro. Go ahead.
I saw a vinyl going on eBay about a month ago, going for like $100.
Oh, that's it. That's not bad. That's all right.
The CD is going for like 70 or 80.
I know Gas Mask is going for 600 right now on Discogs.
I mean, yes.
Sheesh.
I mean, okay. Do y'all have any extra ones in the stash? Because King has it. I don't.
I have every last album I've ever put out, bro. That was one thing I had to. It's funny, man. When I was making the album with OC, OC, I was asking him something, and he told me that he didn't have any of his albums. And
that's great. Yeah, the trophy.
Since then, I was like, yo, there's no way. I'm like, I gotta have my albums, man. Every album I've ever made, I have at least 2 copies of. I don't hoard them, but I have at least 2 copies of every album I've ever made, and in every format. So, vinyl, CD, tape, whatever. At least 2 copies.
You gotta have. Bronze, your work on the Wu Tang indie, the Think Differently music, Wu Tang meets indie culture.
Yeah.
Obviously, you blazed that. I have that. What was that like for you to be on that album?
Oh, that was a crazy experience. It was dope. It was really it was Dreddy Kruger who was putting it together. So it was amazing, man. We was in 32 chambers again, and I think I went out there for 2 weeks, and in those 2 weeks we had most of the artists in and out of there, and so they came, they did the thing, and we mixed it afterwards. It was amazing, man. Getting to meet most of the people on the project, it was amazing. It was kind of hard work because it was having so many MCs come in on the album. It gets complicated, but it was great. I had a good experience. Not such a good experience with the label Baby Grand behind it, but that's a whole different interview. Uh, but no, that was dope, man.
Talk about it. Come back and talk about it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was a dope experience, and it kind of put me on the map, man. That joint came out, and it got Independent Album of the Year in the stores, and I think it sold over like 100,000 independent copies. So that shit really got my name buzzing in like the indie hip hop circles, and not just the Wu Tang circles. So yeah, it was instrumental.
Now, one thing about it, with you all being veterans and obviously Hall of Famers in this, you all came at a time, and we can relate to this because y'all are a couple of years behind us in age, but we're still all in the same generation of it. So you all came along at a time in terms of music where, of course, we got to shout out our man John Blasingame, of course, a Word Up magazine, who was the first, publication to really cover hip hop music.
Yeah, shit.
Then of course, even for all the shit that happened, we still cannot take away the contributions of John Schechter and Dave Mays with the Source magazine. And of course, Elliot Wilson, that would eventually start Double XL. We grew up in an era of that. We grew up in the area of Video Music Box. We grew up with Yo MTV Raps. We grew up with Rap City. We grew up at a time of the mixtape era as well. So this is a situation before social media, Instagram, before Twitter, before even MySpace, Black Planet, for those that really didn't remember it. This was really about, he really had to dig in, lace them boots up on the boom bap and make it slap organically. What was that journey like for y'all in terms of navigating that hip hop scene and, Grand Rapids and Detroit all over in terms of really interacting, intermingling, mixing with, and then ultimately really building this from the ground up? Because these youngers don't understand today. It's a lot easier than what it was back in the day.
Nah, see, we came up in the Flash era, man. We came up in the analog / digital era.
Yeah.
And so, obviously the generation before us was all analog, man. And I'm not just talking about machines. I'm not talking about equipment. I'm just talking about life.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And, in our early life, I mean, we didn't start really, messing with internet and what? Until we was 16, 17, something like that,
right.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I didn't have a dial-up until I was probably 19, 20, and that was, with a card, 100 minutes or whatever.
Right.
So we're the last generation. We're the last generation to know what it's like to sit by the phone and wait for a girl to call you after school. We're the last generation to go to the library and look up, things in encyclopedia so we can do our report. We're the last generation to, dial up, different things like that, man, where we, the rotary phone, like all kinds of stuff that we experienced that these generation, they don't even know. I can't even, I joke around with my kids about all that stuff, man, but but yeah, we grew up in that analog / digital era. And when it came to music, same thing. You know what I'm saying? Man, I mean, we were just talking about we learned how to produce on Voyetro. Voyetro was obviously a small medium of sound manipulation software. Same with Cool Edit. Not necessarily meant to be making beats on, but it's what we learned on, and shit, for me, this is what I use to this day. But I was never a pad hitter. I was never somebody who pulled out the MPC or, I I have a machine right here that I hit pads on or whatever to add to beats or whatever. But I was never a pad hitter, so we came in at the very beginning of the DAW phase, I think. And just that like I said, that slash era, man, where it's a little harder to navigate. I mean, coming up using a computer to make beats, man, I've definitely got my share of teasing and you make you ain't no producer. You don't use the MP. Like, okay, but my beat's better than yours though. So what does that mean? You know what I'm saying? Like, so it was definitely an era to come up. I wouldn't change it for the world. It was at one of those last eras where us coming up, where the era of the fan base. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. Me and Sky Zoo talk about it. Where it was a fan base generation. Like today, if I were to come out today and make music, man, it would be so hard to gain a fan base. So hard to get a fan base. But we got day ones. Yeah. We got people that have grown with us. They've grown with us and listened to our music for the last 15, 20 years and bought everything that we, they're diehard fans, man. And a fan base will take care of you. A fan base will put food on your table.
Yeah, they'll grow with you.
You know what I'm saying? And nowadays, it's hard to get a fan base, man. Everybody is fly by night. Everybody is fair weather. You know what I'm saying? Everybody is, they're totally conditional. There's no unconditional fans out here. Everybody's conditional. Yeah. So we're lucky enough to come up in that era where the fan base, you can still get that fan base, man, and that's super important, man, because we still got it to this day.
Absolutely, they grow with you. You know what I mean? So gotta take care of the fan base.
And I think that's important, y'all, because when we look at the literacy of the culture right now, and this is not to be an elitist in the capacity of this statement, I want to preface it with that, not insulting the generation. But for where we came up at, there was an understanding of what it really represented and what we were really trying to express in the music and in our rhymes, because they were interchangeable. R.A.P. Rap and, rhythm and poetry together.
Right.
And what we saw in our era was a dedicated and definitive devotion to really, really making sure that you put out the best product possible. And it might hit, it might not. But the thing was, nobody could, now, it might not catch on, but it didn't mean you were whack. But it just meant sometimes, because we saw a lot of underground acts come and go during that time. And a lot of them were dope. It was just so many. But the main thing, the whole premise of it is that the foundational point was that if you didn't know how to rap, you did.
Yeah. And this was an era where everybody, all the rappers, all the MCs wanted to be the best birds possible.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Nowadays they don't care about that. But at that time, they wanted to be the best on the mic. They wanted to be the best with words. The producers wanted to be the best with the beats. Yep. You know what I'm saying? They wanted to give you heat every time, man. No throwaway beats. No such thing as a throwaway beat, man. We giving you our best every time. Right. And I still live by that. I don't do throwaway beats. I don't care how small the artist is. He has 5 followers. Nobody knows who he is, but I'm a fan, and I'm like, yo, you're dope. Let's work. Or I don't care if you got Grammys upon Grammys upon Grammys. I'm not doing throwaway beats. My name's on that. Right. My name is on that. No matter, I don't care who hears it, who doesn't hear it. My name is on that. So I'm not going to give you a throwaway beat. I know producers out there that'll just be like, oh yeah, this is my folder for the little guys. I'll give them these beats. Nah, man, I'm gonna give you dope shit no matter what. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna give you dope shit no matter what. If it's gonna be out there, it's because I like it, because I enjoy the beat myself. If I don't like the beat, I'm not putting it out there.
And that's love, man, because when you say that you have such a passionate conviction, such a sincerity to really, really, really look out for it across the board, because obviously the business comes first, and we all know that. But a lot of things are worth more than monetary.
Absolutely.
It's about the true meaning, like Cormega said. of what it means to really give the realness. Another core mega reference. Shout out to the people. You know, and you can't buy that kind of sincerity. It's really about, we look at a time, because there's so many levels to this, y'all, and I'm glad we got a little bit of time to discuss it. We're looking at a time where so many artists are dropping so many projects together, and it's becoming so mumble jumbled. It's hard for everybody to absorb the last project because artists are dropping the next project, and the problem is the project may have not been good, so they're coming with something else. Back in the day, when Ice Cube had his championship run of 4 straight albums, we were fucking blown away because this is Cube giving us heat.
I mean, it could be
one after the other too.
Kill at will. You want to count Kill at Will? It could be 5, even though that was EP.
Right. From 1990 to 94, America's Most Wanted, Kill at Will, Death Certificate, The Predator, Lethal Injection.
And those albums told stories.
All of them amazing.
Absolutely. That's the school we come from. Like, that's what I'm trying to do, because I come from that shit. I listened. I sat through that. So I'm trying to give the same shit. Classic album. Just, it's that, like you said earlier, the quality level. Some cats don't care anymore. Some cats is in it for the hustle. But, like, dudes like us, we're still on that. I want 5 in a row. You know what I mean? So, you know.
These studios is too full of yes men. That's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? They're too full of yes men. People trying to, stay in the crew. And it's, come on, man. Like, I would want, if the shit's whack, tell me it's whack, man.
That's the type of time that we living in right now, man. And that's why a lot of these guys are not really you feel they're not really putting their best effort in, because you got so many yes men and people leaving comments like fire him joys on the comments. I'm like, man, come on, man, we got to keep it real with this guy.
What I mean, you're also talking about a lot of artists who they don't really even want to do this. It's a money grab to them.
Right, and that's how you get dudes.
They don't have a passion for the music.
Yep, and I hear dudes all the time like, yeah, I make 40 beats in 2 hours, and it's like, oh, I did 20 songs overnight, and it's like, man, I mean, that's cool and all, but it's hard for me to believe you put your best foot forward when you just doing shit cookie cutter style. You know what I mean?
Like, I think 5 minutes, and I'm like, it sounds like it, bro.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm literally working on this beat right now. I've been working on this beat for 2 weeks.
And that,
I've been coming back to it, working on it, coming back to it. It's one of them things, man. If you put your all into it, man, if you want it to be great, man. I'm a perfectionist. I want it to be great. I want it to be, perfect in my eyes. You know what I'm saying? When I get done with it, I want to be proud of it. I'm be like, all right, yeah, I made that. You know what I'm saying? I'm one of those dudes that I make a beat and I sit and listen to it for an hour, back to back, over and over. And bring it to the truck, man, and just listen to it all day while I'm riding around.
Yeah.
But that's the generation we come from.
And that's the point, because I wanted to, because y'all were just running with it, like an 18-wheeler, delivering it where it needed to go, and I didn't want to lose my train of thought, but, because what y'all all said collectively about the yes men, what we're seeing now is because of the rise of social media, because back in the day, you didn't necessarily know who the members of the crew were unless they actually contributed something. So we're seeing a lot of the people who will never risk their access with the candidates because they're trying to pad their own celebrity too, because as we've seen in the digital universe, Twitter, Instagram, these people are trying to brand themselves, and it's usually at the attachment of somebody else. So they're going to keep their name in that circle no matter what. What you both so accurately stated about the means of, there's what I call the pseudo hustle bust, because people try to disguise the abundance as arduous and honest work when it really isn't. Like what you said about somebody made 40 beats in 2 hours. No. Because if you're really crafting your shit, you season it up like a good steak and blend it sear, You you got that brisket and you're gonna let that shit sizzle, in the grill for 12. No, you can't just cook that shit quick. You gotta let it marinate. You gotta get it flavorful, and then you gotta make sure that it's spiced enough when you're ready to deliver to the masses. When very rare, even the best MCs, because I call this the Jay Z thing. This is no slight to Jay, because I think y'all know where I'm going with this. Jay Z, of course, the story behind Jay Z doing the Blueprint album was that I think he did that over a weekend. Um, Jay Z is not your average MC. Jay Z is special.
Exactly.
You also got all these MCs out here trying to go in the booth and not write anything down.
Absolutely.
Right. Trying to
a lot of that.
Memorize memorize it as you write it down. Memorize it as you rehearse it over and over. Cool. But don't just go in the booth and just try to spit some shit, and I'm seeing that a lot. I'm hearing that a lot. And it's not sounding good. You know what I'm saying? I think you should write your shit down. When I'm at a restaurant, I get nervous when the waitress doesn't write my order down. I get nervous. That's my family. I'm like, yo, you got that? Because I got a lot of changes and a lot of different, add-ons and takeaways in this order. You got that? You sure you're going to come back with the right order? I get nervous, man. Write that shit down. You're not impressing me by not writing that down. Write it down. You know what I'm saying? That just assures that you get it right.
Yeah, they figure because they're patterning off of Biggie and Jay, because they kind of boasted about not writing anything down that they can do it, but difference is you're not Biggie and Jay. you.
Not everybody can do that, and not everybody can do that.
Yeah, that's the whole problem with it, man. Like, you got to be nice with it. Like, the only person I see really do it like that, and like before I started here, I was nervous too when I did the album with King Crooked. We I got to LA, we get into the studio, and I throw the beat on, and he's just kind of sitting there like mumbling to himself, like 10 minutes, and I'm like, oh man. So then he go in the booth. I'm like, no, you ain't writing nothing down, nothing. And so I'm thinking, like, I'm nervous. I'm like, oh man, I hope it's gonna be as ill as all this other stuff. And it absolutely was. But like you said, you're not King Crooked, you're not Biggie. You know what I mean? You're not Jay. So all these people that are kind of still on the amateur level, man, write that shit down, man, please.
And it's crazy because you mentioned, King Crooked. When they did the Slaughterhouse album, the story behind that was with another Michigan native, voiced the 5'9", who does that off so well. The rumor was with that album that they did that in a week. And I have the mixtape that they did, and I have the actual album, and then I have, I think it was the EP, but I got like 3 of them. I don't have.
I can see it, man. If you locked in, those are seasoned professionals. If you locked in, and there's no distractions, man, absolutely, I can see that happening.
Yeah, that's probably, yeah.
Yeah, but it's a special breed of artists, and when you're looking at that, because they were all, when they got together, Joel, Voice, Crooked, Budden, that was huge for the culture. No matter, what anybody has to say about any of them as individuals, they made a great project, and they came together. Like you said, when you're locked in, you do it. What have you both observed in the industry in terms of marketing now, and how artists are bringing water to the game, and even with the taboo word nobody wants to say, industry plans? How do you all feel about what's going on with just what's happening with artists coming in right now?
Community. I think. As far as marketing and all that shit, I think in our game, I see a lot of people coming in with zero fucking marketing. I think that's. I don't know. I think that's just like, once you really get into to getting some music out here, you're gonna realize that it don't matter how dope you are. Doesn't matter how much clout you got, your city behind you, at some point to get past the first glass ceiling or whatever you want to call it, you're gonna have to. You realize that you got to spend money on marketing and promo. Like, I mean, that's it, man.
Absolutely. I think a lot of people think that social media is going to do it for them.
Right.
That's, you know what I'm saying? They rely on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok or whatever, and it may work for some, but for most, nah, man. That's just a start. You know what I'm saying? And you could have the greatest hip hop album in the history of music, but you know, if no one knows about it, then it doesn't matter. It's all about awareness. Awareness is key.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and it's countless people that got 50, 60, 70, 100,000 followers on Instagram, and then you go look at how many actual like monthly listeners they might have, and it's not even close because people like your Instagram stuff, they don't like your music. You know what I mean? So, I think that you've got to market outside of the social media. Social media ain't gonna do it, man. You know what I mean?
It all has to transfer and translate. So, you know, it's definitely, and I know people, you know, even us, man, you know, we might hire PR, we might hire, you know, certain folks and do this and do that. It still doesn't reach everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I can only imagine the folks that don't put in any money to, you know, get some publicity. But, yo, and you know, the algorithms are kind of crazy these days, man, which is wild. So you got to kind of play the algorithms, man. You gotta play these games, man, that I can't stand. So I'm like, you expect that, you know, if I put a photo out on Instagram or if I put something out on Instagram, I want all of my followers to see it. You know what I'm saying? That's the whole. You want all your followers to see it, but they say only 3% of your followers see it.
Yeah,
that's the cold part.
Wild.
And it's crazy because you both have the work you've done speaks for itself. You know, I keep saying it. You guys are living legends in this, so it's like you have a history.
It's all about, and I tell younger folks, man, and younger cats getting into this. It's all about consistency and reliability. Those are the two things that you
say that again.
Consistency and reliability. Those are the two things that you need in this industry to garner a fan base, to keep people in your corner, to keep people buying your music. You know, if you're consistent, people know what they're going to get every time they buy the album, and then in time you become reliable. You become that person that can always count on you to give them good music.
Absolutely.
No matter what's going on, no matter who's putting this out, putting that out, they know if they grab this Apollo Brown record, they grab this Bronze Nazareth record, they're going to get a great record. They're going to get good music. It's all about consistency and reliability, man. Those are the two things that keep you in this shit. That's the longevity of it right there. If you want longevity, and I'm not saying, you know, you're going to be rich and famous, but if you want longevity in this game to even give you a chance at that, it's all about consistency and reliability.
Hey, what we say on the block, slow money is better than no money.
Yes, sir. And you know.
And you know,
and you know when you got to get it to that stage,
because they talk about this algorithm about how there's a lot of fakeness online. You know, in terms of where people be buying the followers, you know, and everything else.
Oh yeah, you can spot that. You can spot that in a heartbeat. Yeah. That's 200,000 followers, but 7 likes on their photo. You'd be like, that don't add up. That don't add up.
Facts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you all when King told me about this, we were both had to be warned, you know, and obviously what was going on in terms of the press run that you all are doing for this project. We were just super excited to have you on. We're loving this right now. What has it been like in terms of really talking to the other outlets in terms of, you know, if any have reached out to you, like XXL, Source, you know, Vibe, any underground hip hop, any of the blogs or whomever in terms of really interacting with him and really doing press to really promote this project?
Mm-hmm.
You know what, man? To be honest with you, a lot of that stuff's not the same anymore.
Nah.
A lot of that's not the same anymore, and it's not really a thrill anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And it's not one of those things that I completely strive for anymore, man. I've transferred over to a kind of a direct to consumer career.
Gotcha.
Where what I really care about now is my fan base, and it's not for me. It's not about gaining new fans. It's not about getting new fans. It's about nurturing the fan base that I already have.
Gotcha.
It's about taking all my day ones and all my fans, and it's inevitable. I'm going to gain new fans. I'm going to lose fans, whatever. But it's all about nurturing the fan base that I already have, engaging with them. That's what I'm on these days, man. And if no one reaches out and wants to do any press on this album, whatever. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't bother me at all because I know my fans. I'm engaging with my fans, and I know they're locked in. But I mean, I'm sure we'll have quite a few people call in, quite a few people wanting to do interviews and reviews and stuff like that. We already do, and I think it's an important album to do so. You know what I'm saying? I think they should. But again, I'm not expecting it. I don't expect things anymore in this industry and in my career. I don't expect things anymore, man. I'm always surprised when things happen, and that's just kind of how it is these days with me, man. And it's just different these days, man. It's really different.
It is.
The outlets are different.
The energy is different.
We came up. We talked about earlier. We came up in a blog era. We came up in an era of magazines.
Yeah.
We came up in an era of big websites and forums. We came up in an era where that type of publicity was kind of in the forefront. I got stacks of magazines over here that I've been in. I got stacks of newspapers. I got all kinds of stuff that I've been in over the years. And it's just totally different these days with that, man. And not only with those people reaching out, but with what they cover.
Right.
That's a fact.
You know what I'm saying? They don't cover us anymore. They don't cover us. And when I say us, I think you know what we're talking about.
Absolutely.
They don't cover us.
And it's become like they also kind of lost their power. Like the magazine used to come out, you'd be, oh man, they got an article, they walking around with exhibit in his neighborhood, they interviewing them, and you get a close-up look. But now, all that shit is on that artist's social media. So before the magazines can even drop, you already know all the info already. Well, the magazines is 2 months behind what you can get off the internet. So in that fashion, they kind of lost their power. And then I think at some point, and I've dealt with publicists who have a relationship with Double XL or one of the others, and at this point now it's like they're looking for people to get to them through a PR. So it's like they're not going out and interviewing an artist like they should be interviewing Apollo and Bronze. This is two titans coming together. Back in the day, that would have been a huge article, man. They would have been in Detroit walking around with us on our daily and giving us a good 4 or 5 page article. But now I think they're more so trying to get support through ads and PR publicists who are in cahoots with them, and then they'll get you in there, but it'll just be a PR blurb on the website now. So like I said, they lost a lot of their power, and they don't cover us, so it doesn't make sense to even kind of search for placements there, you know what I mean? Yeah, they would have been at our door like, yo, we gotta get an interview with these two, you know what I mean? So it's like Apollo said, it's mad different, man.
Yeah, we don't chase it anymore because they don't cover us anymore. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I'm direct to consumer or direct to fan, direct to supporter, whatever you want to. My fans hit me up on my socials and ask me questions, and I answer them right away. Yeah. I have things like Patreon and stuff like that where I engage with my my supporters directly. You know, I don't necessarily need a middleman to tell you my life story. So, you know,
Go ahead.
no, I'm just saying, like, especially the larger publications, the larger, you know, podcasts, the larger, you know, outlets. We just don't chase them anymore, and there's no need to.
When we look at the situations and what you said, Apollo, about the independent route, you know, because this is something when we go into the tangent of entrepreneurship. And entrepreneurship is always sexy as hell because it screams boss. But people don't understand what it takes to be the boss. Like James Brown said, you got to pay the cost. And for artists that want to do their independent, it's great if you already have a fan base.
That makes a big difference right there because it's all risk. Yes, it's all reward, but it's all risk. You know what I'm saying? And risk, the risk for me is capitalized. Reward is not.
Right.
All risk, all reward. And that reward is beautiful when it comes.
Right.
But it's all risk first.
Yep. You know, and we speak on that. I mean, when we look at Cormega, when he went to land speed, you know, in terms of when he dropped his, you know, and it's after what, I mean, you know, of course, we all know that history. We're not out to, you know, air anybody out or ether anybody on the show. That's not what we do. For those that know, they know what happened, the Def Jam with him, and why he ended up going, you know, independent. You know, we look at, you know, the Locks, where they started, you know, where Sheik and Styles, you know, went out and did their independent, you know, you all pretty much gone the independent route for the most part. What have you all found between the difference between independent, you know, and major label workings?
I mean, I've been independent for a long time. I kind of learned early on how these labels do. So after I got off Baby Grand, I mean, I signed deals here and there as like, you know, one-offs, but and, you know, after leaving Baby Grand, I focused on getting independent because I saw that, you know, there's all these fucking middlemen, man, and the best way to get your money for your artistry is to cut out the fucking middleman who just got their hand on the plate and they're not really doing anything that you can't do. So I think the difference there is, yeah, you get your own control, you get your you know, creatively you can do whatever. You can be flexible on your releases, when, how, what, but you don't have the relationships or connects that the label might have had with certain players in the industry. So, like Apollo says, it's all risk. So, you know, I think that I think labels they'll throw some money at you, and then like you might not see no more after that. And independently, you know, you can see your stuff directly. You can access your own accounting whenever you want. You know, there's no middleman, like I said. So, you know, it's both sides got the pros and the cons. You know, being on a label, they might have a stronger marketing presence than you got. But then again, you might not be able to get a look inside and see what actual numbers are doing. They just give you a piece of paper and tell you, yeah, that's what you did. You know what I'm saying? So, like indie, it's more control, but more risk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Man, the priority is me.
Yeah.
I'm the priority. You know what I'm saying? And like Brian said, creative control. I do what I want to do, when I want to do it, how I want to do it, with who I want to do it with. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, you have all the control. Again, all the risk, all the control, but the reward is great. The reward is great. You know what I'm saying? If you work hard and you do all the things you're supposed to do,
Yeah.
you know, the reward is great. So, yeah, it's just, you know, priority is me. I'm the priority.
And that's important. We look at the way this industry has been, like you said, you know, and that's the thing about the pitfalls of the majors. They're making money off of your talent and dictating how much money you're going to get. And then we see the politics of so many artists, and records didn't come out. We saw leaks on mixtapes, this, that, and the other, and some of the shit was fire, but it never got released. And there's nothing worse where, for those in Hollywood, they got a term called development hell, where something is in development, but it never comes out. Same thing happens in music, with labels. You have a record that's in recording hell. It's incarcerated on the imagination. This shit is dope, but it's never going to be free for everybody to listen.
That's crazy too.
I mean, we're looking, and
I'm not in the business sitting on music, man. I'm not.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to out it because I don't know exactly how many people may actually know this, but there's particular artists, they had a falling out down south. Y'all probably know what I'm going to say without saying the names, but and one of the artists went on record saying he would never do business with this artist again, but the problem is his label is directly under that artist's label. And the thing is,
nasty
he can't
work.
put out a record without that artist, without the head artist saying that he can release it.
Yeah. Be careful what you sign, man.
Yeah,
Other people controlling your income.
Yeah, it's a subsidiary. It's a label, a subsidiary under that parent label. They still dictate the terms of when you're going to do stuff.
To this day.
Like, imagine being out there, imagine not releasing a record in 12 years because literally the guy says, you can't put out a record.
That's crazy work.
That's changed. I can change my name or something.
I'd put out a big announcement, man. My name is now, come look for me.
Right. Artist formerly known as.
Look, we can speak on that with Prince, God rest his soul, because, Prince was trying to hit us to that years ago. And he was on it before we all really understood the depth of what he was saying, because Prince Rogers Nelson, that was his real name. And he got into the famous legal battle with Warner Brothers. And he fought that shit for King, you wrote a stellar article. I'm going to keep, promoting that shit on the show whenever it comes up. King wrote a great article about detailing Prince's history and the fight that he had. I think Prince fought that. I think Prince was fighting that battle for 6 or 7 years.
Longer than that. I think it was about going on 10 years. Because if not longer than that, because before he died, he went back to Warner Brothers to get the rights of Purple Rain back. But other than that, he was just using a symbol and he was just going independent.
Yeah. But you figure with the unlimited genius that he had, he was writing, producing, performing, composing. He was working for, doing stuff for other people. So he had the money that he could keep fighting.
Yeah.
Not
everybody has that.
Right.
I mean, even with Yo Gotti, the situation with TBT Records years ago, that nigga literally bought out his own contract for $250,000.
And you know what? Hey, you know what?
Most people I know can't do that. So,
right.
What you gonna do?
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, we talking about the challenges going on with the industry. With you guys, with y'all style using a lot of soul sampling and. But did the new changes of how music is distributed create any challenges for you guys, to get samples clear?
I don't even know what you're talking about, bro. I don't sample, man. So I've never sampled in my life, man.
Oh wow!
everything you hear, I play it right here in the studio.
Oh man!
Sheesh!
Even the voices, man, they're all my voices. Crazy.
We're not going to answer that producer magic because that's something from the locking keyboard at Fort Knox with a golden technique.
That's
the future interview.
The changes in music, these man are. I mean, it's pros and cons to it. You know what I'm saying? And there's a lot of amazing shit out here, and then there's not. You know what I'm saying? And it's a hard question to answer, man. Without I'm not saying incriminating myself, but it's just a hard question to answer, man. There's a lot of amazing instrumentalists out here, and I've used them. Absolutely, I've used them. If you listen to my last album, Elevator Music, you know, a lot of that is sound design. You know, and I know a lot of these cats, man. So they send me stuff to chop up and use, and
that's dope. That's love.
you know, they're amazing musicians, man, and they play everything from scratch. And you know, I don't consider myself I'm a musician, I guess you could say, but I'm not an instrumentalist. You know what I'm saying? I'm a sound manipulator. You want to call it that?
You make, and that's
I take sound that is already there, and then I manipulate it the way, however I want to. Everything I do is deliberate. So if you hear a beat the way it is, it's because that's how I wanted it. If you hear a song the way it is, that's because that's how I wanted it. An album, you know, everything I do in this career, in my career, is deliberate. So, but I definitely wouldn't call myself an instrumentalist, man. I could play some keys or whatever here and there. I can hit a few pads, but I'll program the shit out of some drums. I can't play the drums though. I tried to play the drums and start getting going. I get the hi hat and the snare going, and as soon as I put my foot into that bitch, it's like just falls apart, man. But I'll program the shit out of some drums though, and I'll manipulate the hell out of a sample or a body of music, wherever it comes from. But yeah, man, not everybody can do that.
Look, it's like this. You're not trying to be slick with Puffy in terms of how he do it and then pass himself off as a producer.
Nah, we make our own beats around here.
Yeah. Every part, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah. How empowering is it to be that emancipated to where, with the monumental talents, being a behemoth of genius, that you all have been able to carry this for so many years on your own terms? How does it feel to have to be that bold, ferocious, and unapologetically unique and creatively expressive in giving your gift to the world?
Yo, blessed, man, blessed. And like I said earlier, if it wasn't for my fan base, if it wasn't for my supporters over the years, you know, Apollo Brown might not be Apollo Brown. You know what I'm saying? I got to give it to them. And you know, they're the ones that are, you know, obviously it's my talent, it's my know-how, or whatever you want to call it, or me giving the world this music. But if no one was buying it, I mean, what good is it? So, yo, I gotta give props to the fan base. They're amazing out there. So, and then everybody that I've ever worked with, man, it's all synergy. You know what I'm saying? It's all synergy. You know, everybody I've ever worked with, it was all mutual. Everything was mutual. You know, I was a fan of them just as much as they were a fan of me, vice versa, whatever. You know, I don't work with anybody I'm not a fan of. I don't work with anybody I don't want to work with. You know what I'm saying? I've been blessed to be able to say, yo, if I don't want to work with you, or if I'm not gonna, I'll just say, yo, I'm not interested. You know what I'm saying? But everyone I've ever worked with, man, is because I'm a fan of them. I'm a fan of their music. So big ups to them as well.
Yeah, I think I feel blessed as well, man, because it's like, man, I haven't had a 9 to 5, bro, since 2007. So to be able to do what I love for a living, that's pretty much everybody's, you know, main goal, man, a living, and to be able to do music and get it to how I want it and put it out there how I want it. Like, because a lot of people, like, we'll say my first album, Great Migration, was A&R by Dreddy Kruger, and there was a couple pieces on there that came out and like one of he got one of my verses way off beat, and it actually made it to manufacturing before he let me check it. And so being able to sit in my motherfucking studio and make things exactly how I want, and like I said, to put it out how I want, how I intended to be heard, man, it's nothing short of a blessing.
And everybody's definition of success is different, right? So some people's success is, I got a loving wife and beautiful kids and a home, and that's success. And other people's success is, I'm riding around in a Bentley with $250K on my lap. Like, that's success, and I think everybody should know that if you're in the industry and you're able to, because Bronze mentioned he hasn't had a 9-to-5 since 2007. I haven't had a 9-to-5 since 2010. And I think success, or at least a little bit of success in this industry, is being able to wake up in the morning, do what you love for a living, and be able to pay your bills with it. I'm not talking having all the fame, having all the money in the world, being rich, riding around in this, doing this, going here. No. Just being able to pay your bills off music. Pay all your bills off music and have a little bit left over. Oh, that's amazing.
That's the American dream.
That's amazing. So I think that, if you're in this, and strive for that. And look, it takes micro losses to get to macro wins. You know what I'm saying? All of our wins are the buildup of many, 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 many little losses. Go for it.
And that's something that is spoken from somebody who has seen the rise, has had a couple of falls, has still elevated, still never created. I'm talking about both of you. Has still never stopped and created, and has accumulated that level of wisdom that only time, with the sands of it, you make the footprints in of seeing how far you've come on the trails that you trek of where your sojourn has taken you. Those are jewels that are invaluable and they are priceless. And I think a lot of times when we look at this generation that is so caught up in the quick gratification of trying to reach that upper stratosphere of success, they don't understand that this is not a sprint. This is a marathon. There's a means. There's a method. It's paying dues. It's understanding the patience that this won't happen right away, but still maintaining the tenacity to understand, I'm going to give this my all, and I have to give my very best in my all in order to have maybe a chance that this is going to happen. What we've seen with how easy it is for artists to get into the game, they may get a song that goes viral, and then they think of, like what you were saying, what people define as success. But we've seen artists, who people thought were hotter than Mount Kilauea in Hawaii, ready to blow, and then they ended up being frozen, like the North Pole, and they didn't go nowhere. And even global warming could have even thawed their success.
You know what that leads back to? You know what that leads back to, right?
What's that?
Consistency and reliability.
Yeah.
That's the term.
Yeah.
That's what that leads back to.
Yeah.
Like I said, that's the key to longevity. Like, and I did mention that doesn't mean you're gonna be rich and famous, but that's the key to longevity.
Yeah.
Right. And we see people over the last 15, 20 years. We've seen people come and go, come and go, come and go.
Man, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's right.
Come and go and come and go, man. And they might have had a bigger hit than me, but they only had one.
And they go.
I'd rather make the oatmeal, man. I tell people I make oatmeal. I make that music that makes the rest of the album stick together. Stick to it. Like, it's just one of those. I make that music that's heavy on your stomach.
Right.
I don't make hits. I've never made hits.
But it's gonna fill you up, and it's nutrition.
Yeah. I don't make hits. I make the music that sticks to the ribs. and that's the music I'll always make. And to me, that's what my fan base loves. That's what my fan base wants. That's what they enjoy. That's the music that lasts 20 years, 30 years. The music that you can come back to 20 years from now and be like, yo, that shit is still amazing, still relatable. I'm all about relatable music, music that people can feel, and it has to have feeling. It's all about the feeling. You know what I'm saying? Rah-rah is, I mean, that shit is, we all make rah-rah type shit every now and then, but, yo, the music, you got to be able to feel it. It has to be able to take you somewhere. It has to either make you remember something or forget something.
Right. And that's what we did on this funeral for a dream, man. Absolutely.
Now, when y'all titled this, I keep thinking about Requiem for a Dream by Darren Aronofsky. Was that a playoff of that, or was that just coincidental?
No, man. It comes from the quote. What is it? The death of a dream is the best funeral. Which in turn, means that once you've accomplished something, you can lay it to rest.
It's dead.
It's dead. Yeah, just like the intro. You listen to the intro, it says it sets you up for the rest of the album. It says everything you need to say.
Perfect.
And like it's once you've accomplished that dream, now you can lay it to rest. You can put it 6 feet deep.
And when you think about that in terms of being able to, because a lot of people aspire, but some don't always achieve that aspiration. When you look at what you both have done in your immaculate creation with this project, this is a culmination of over 40 years of friendship, through, familiar ties, through academic, pedigrees, and
we was athletic too.
Okay, athletic. All right, so
we was athletic too. We'll
take that.
I mean, obviously, as well as the audio on with the boom bap, it made it slap. You all were pretty much athletes, getting it on the streets in terms of it. Tell us about, that basketball scene and football scene, baseball, what y'all played out there back in the day. Because there's a lot of people who come out that area y'all was from.
I mean, tell them about number 51.
Hey, man, I played 6 years, middle school up through high school, captain, linebacker. I was a hitter, man, so I also played tight end on offense. Mainly middle linebacker, man, crushing, you know what I'm saying? So, just high school athlete shit, man, you know what I mean?
And I played tail and corner.
Yep.
That was all about, man. It's just football was amazing, man. Still watch it to this day. Still love it.
Yeah, that's my favorite shit, man. Football and boxing.
All about them Chiefs. All about that kingdom.
When you think about the athletic culture today, in terms of for the young people, in terms of how their exposure was, high school games being played on television. Now the NIL, you're seeing high school players getting endorsement. And this was obviously, you came up at a time where, you were just trying to be good enough just to get a scholarship, to school to really have a chance to have a continuous of it. How do you all feel today about the culture of what's happening with the kids coming up and seeing up the sports landscape as we?
The other day I just saw this little photo. It was a professionally made photo on. You know how high school kids commit to college, right? And committed. Little 8th grader committed to high school. I was cracking up.
8th grader committed to high school. Wow.
Committed to a high school. I'm like, come on, man. We committing to high schools now?
I mean,
Yes,
but when you think about it, out here in Hampton Roads, where I'm from, we're not gonna name no names. But it was kind of talked about back in the 90s, that these high schools would recruit guys and, this, that, and the other. Only thing I could see committed in this day is if you're actually going to a private high schools like Gorman, like Bishop Gorman or somewhere like that, and they gonna pay for everything. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
it's
IMG Academy. You know what I mean?
All I
Right.
gotta say, keep them grades up.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. That's it.
Now, one thing about it is obviously if we're keeping the grades up, that is spoken from individuals who obviously, completed that journey of an academic enrichment, which you both being college graduates. How important is that for artists to have that level of education in terms of, even if it's not necessarily college education, just understanding the business and understanding that this may not last forever.
I mean, it sounds cliche, but you gotta have something to fall back on.
Right.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. I was starting to get into the professional side of the music industry in college, and college was my backup even back then. So it's like I got my backup built in from then to now. So it's important, man. You gotta have a backup plan to this music shit because a lot of people, it's like trying to get into the NBA, man. Everybody ain't gonna make it. Everybody can't play that well. You know what I mean? So that's it, man. You better have a backup. You know what I mean?
Yeah, even to this day, man, I'm thinking about applying to law school.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? I went to an advisor meeting a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
I went to an advisor meeting and a trip through campus. I'm thinking about going to law school, man, just to just enrich my life.
Man,
Gotta put some more. Gotta have a lot of accolades.
You ready to tackle that bar exam like you tackled the studio, man?
Absolutely. Let me tackle this LSAT first, though.
Yeah. First stuff.
But yeah, man.
This is what it sounds like.
I know this music thing's not forever. You know what I'm saying? And luckily, we make beats. Bronze obviously, he lends his face to the rhyme aspect, to the rapping aspect. But making beats, we could probably make beats till we're 80 years old if we want to. I mean, you got a lot of players out there that are still, doing their thing and doing it well.
Yeah.
I probably got another. I think we got another. I don't know. I'm 45. We both 45 right now, so I ain't mean to put your age out there, bro. But
what you mean, man? I'm 35, bro. What you talking about?
Oh yeah. We 45 right now. I think I got another 20 years.
They say 40's the new 20. I mean, 40's the new 30 now.
Hey, man, absolutely, man, absolutely. I think you're right. We can make beats for a long time. Rap for a while, too. Just out here rapping over 50 plus. So, like, it's like the generation before us, they grew up with all their groups, and their groups been on tour forever. So, I think that in this generation, the rhymers gonna be on tour into a little bit older age. I mean, so I think it's just like generational. As we grow, our fans grow with us. So
yeah.
That's but everybody folks stop ringing at some point. You know what I mean? So
absolutely, man, absolutely.
I got that back up.
I call it the great fall off, man. It's inevitable. You know what I'm saying? It could happen next year. It can happen 5 years from now. It can happen 20 years from now. But we all fall off. It's going to happen. Everybody's phone starts ringing, man, like Brown said.
Well, one thing about it, when we look at it, I think this is why it is not only important, it's essential that you all are still there. When we look at Uncle E40, repping the Bay Area for over 35 years and still doing it at a high level. Shout out to Griselda, Westside, Benny, and Conway. They're in their 40s and still doing this at a high level. Premier still producing. I mean, Fabulous. Even if he's not necessarily putting out albums, Fab is still killing it right now, 47.
Well, we're lucky to have a fan base that grows with us, man. Man, that's having a fan base that grows with you. It looks a little different on tour because they're as old as you are and they got things to do, so they don't like to come out at night. But other than that, they got a family to take care of, work in the morning and shit. But You know what I'm saying? But other than that, man, we got a fan base that grows with us, and you know that's and then it all goes back to what does it go back to?
Consistency.
No. What does it go back to? Yeah, you're right. Consistency and reliability. It all goes back to that.
Absolutely.
And when you think about it, having your families to ground you, how does that feel knowing at the end of the day that you can always go home and unwind, and you know you're just dad and a husband in terms of how you both man, how you both have to go home for your families, and like I said, this is you have that stability behind you, that ground.
And that's my favorite part of the day, man. That's my favorite part of the day. My kids, my wife, my family is super supportive, always has been. My wife is amazing. Even though her husband, I remember when we first started dating, I had to go on an 8-week tour. It was like 8 weeks. I was like, yeah. She was like, this is what I got to deal with? I'm like, yep. She dealt with it. And we've been together a long time, man. And that's super supportive, man. I love her. My kids are amazing. And that's being with my family is my favorite part of the day.
And what about the journey when y'all both started with y'all parents in terms of, because this is something that a lot of times, obviously how the thing goes. Parents want their kids to do something that is quote unquote safe and stable. And rap is something that's a lottery. It's a gamble in terms of if you're going to hit it when you play.
But that era we came up in, our parents, it's because it wasn't a profession to be a rapper or to be a producer. So when you mention anything of the arts, you want to be a sculptor, you want to be a painter, you want to be a rapper, you want to be someone who plays the violin, all that, whatever. All of our parents were like, nah, you gonna go to what? You gonna go to college?
You gonna have 2, 3 jobs. My pops used to be like, nah, you gotta go get 2, 3 jobs. Like, what?
We were the fast food generation, so and then it's like, yo, no, you're gonna be a doctor, lawyer, some type of executive, whatever. And then, it went from that to my parents are my biggest fans. My mom knows what's going on with me before I do. She read an article before I did. She'll hear this interview before I do. You know what I'm saying? She's all about it. My parents are amazing when it comes to that, man, and they're super supportive and very proud.
Yeah, I mean that's just it's the same with mine, my family, wifey and the kids. Like my wife, she used to have her grandfather was a soul singer, so her family is used to having a guy in the family go out on tour. So he was dabbling around with Motown back in the day. So she never had a problem with me bouncing for a month, 2 weeks. So if you don't have a family supporting you like that too, it's hard as an artist. You know what I'm saying? It's hard as an artist. Absolutely. You gotta have somebody there to hold you down when you're not around or when you don't have an album out or something. You know what I mean?
And that's the most genuine kind of love, because when you look at it, life isn't perfect, but and sometimes your family isn't always perfect, but at least in those imperfections, there's at least a genuine love and concern. The industry where sincerity is a dangerous disguise, and the love sometimes only goes as far as what they can lean into you to get from it. And that's something that we've seen, like y'all talk about the fall laws. Everybody loves to wake up on top. You know what I'm saying?
When they tell that fall off story, it's a whole different energy.
Yeah.
Right.
But that's why I keep my circle real small, man. Keep my circle real small.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the way.
And we about to probably wrap this up a little bit, because I gotta get this thing mixed down and recorded and put on YouTube. But thank you guys once again for joining us, man. This was definitely one of our best bills, man, considering that you guys are still out there putting out consistently great quality of work and doing it at a high frequency.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate it. I enjoyed it, man. Everybody make sure they get that Funeral for a Dream, July 25th, man. Apollo Brown, Bronze Nazareth, both of us just going in, man, doing what we do on an expert level, man. So appreciate y'all brothers, man.
Y'all can feel free to come back anytime. Before we get off there, will y'all be having physicals available for this?
Of course, man. I've never put out an album and not had a physical, man, without a doubt.
That's the culture, man.
That's the kind of fan base we have, man. You know,
gotta have that.
Love physicals. They want vinyl, they want CDs, they want tapes, man. They want it all. So we got to give it to them. Got to give it to them, man. And I would feel weird not having an album out or having an album out and not having any physical copies. That's wild to me.
We're going to have to build on that the next show about how this is transferred to digital and how a lot of artists are abandoning that, but, you know, where it's changing. Because we definitely, that's a whole other discussion we need to get on. Is that going to be available on your website for that?
Absolutely, man. Pre-orders are going to be available on release date, July 25th, and on escapismrecordings.com.
Gotcha. Perfect.
Yes, sir, man. So we definitely appreciate y'all joining us, man. We're gonna definitely keep updated, keep following y'all and what y'all doing currently, and supporting that real shit, man. This interview is gonna definitely be up by the night, so y'all check it out, man.
Definitely will. Appreciate y'all brothers. Y'all be cool, man.
Absolutely, and thank you so much again to both of you. Thank you again.
No doubt, man. Y'all have a good night, man. I appreciate y'all.
Sure. Appreciate y'all. We'll talk again soon, brothers.
All right.
All right. Peace.
King, take us out of here, brother.
On that note, we up out of here. Catch us next week. Same Off the Cuff time, Off the Cuff channel 1.